Right, everyone, welcome back. Welcome back. We're here for this NFP Friday afternoon New York session. Today is January the 5th. I want to welcome back everyone who was on this morning, all subscribers who joined the morning session, also everyone who joined the afternoons, who's here for, who's already a subscriber, and this is your first time joining today. Welcome. Also to new those who have never been to the live stream before, and this is your first time, welcome to the channel. I hope you find it rewarding. Let me know. Jump in the chat, introduce yourself. If you have any questions, feel free. Hey, Malik, welcome. Welcome. Yeah, I was actually during the break in between just the last two sessions, I was trying to look up to see how you were doing. I didn't have a chance to listen to your session or anything, but I did see that you had it, and I will give you a subscribe a little bit later today when I listen to your session. But congratulations. There's plenty of space in live streaming for everyone to succeed. So I'm happy that you're able to do something that you wanted to do, and that it's going well for you so far. But I will later today or either into this weekend, I'll check out. I saw that you had 3 streams so far. All right, before we get everything kicked off this morning, let's since we're mentioning that today is NFP Friday, let's take a look at where we are as far as all the news that's been announced. We haven't even looked at ISM PMI. Okay, so it came in below expectation, right at about 50%. So it seems like the manufacturers are neither optimistic or pessimistic about the economy. They're just kind of neutral. But it's lower than what they had forecasted. So I guess for the economy, as far as the dollar is concerned, there may be some fears that we're not going to grow as fast as they thought. Now at 1:30, we have FOMC member Barkin. He's going to come and speak. And I believe he's at some place in Baltimore or somewhere in Maryland. Due to speak at the American Bankers Association in Annapolis. So we'll see how that impacts the market. At 1:30, we should see some type of reaction. Normally, FOMC, there is a big reaction. This is listed as an orange folder, just like the same as Wednesday morning. I remember Wednesday morning not being too eventful and not being a massive expansion or contraction. So I'm not sure what to expect today, but we'll treat it as a normal FOMC event where we expect a lot of volatility. And if we don't get it, then that's a different story. But let's just be careful as we get close to 1:30, just to make sure we're not caught in a bad position. Oh, no problem, Malik. Absolutely, man. It's I'm now just finished 5 weeks doing it. So now you're in. I'm only 4 weeks ahead of you. Jello, good afternoon. How are you? All right, let's get back to the charts here. Sorry, let's go to the 15 minutes. Let me just remove this quarterly theory for a moment. There we go. Let's make it a little easier to see. All right, so we can see sort of where we are as far as the day, how the day has progressed. We had a start here. The London session was sort of a slow stair step downwards. We had a 8:30 news event, which saw sharp movement and then a retraction before the candle concluded. And then from there, we saw bullish momentum all the way through actually the opening bell up until 11 o'clock. At around 11 o'clock is when the retracement started, and had this area marked up thinking this would produce a bounce and we continue to see upside, but we saw price just continue to break down through it. So let me just remove that since it's not relevant. Okay, that one can remain. Yeah, but we can see that this actually may not hold. We have another 9 minutes on this candle, but we've seen it's now broken through. And so far, the threshold has been the midnight open. Let me just make that a bit larger. So this morning I added the midnight open and 8:30 open to the chart just so I can be aware of when we get close to those levels. Those levels are usually bounce zones as well, where a price likes to retrace to, retest, and then move to wherever the target of the day or of that session is. So we just want to monitor and see where price wants to go now that it has hit the 442 level. And there's another fair value gap we missed here. Right. And if you look at the bottom left, you'll see the 15-minute there. It's always down in the bottom left-hand corner with automatic fair value gaps, so I don't have to draw them up. It's just when I put it on the big screen, you may not see them. Also, where we see prices right now, this yellow shaded area is also the new day opening gap. So we're back to the opening of yesterday. And if you look at the daily chart, which we aren't looking at right now, but so far we have the last 5 days consecutively producing bearish candles. And today potentially could be day number 6 in a row, especially since we have this range that is already traded through. So if we sweep these lows, then we're definitely looking at a low of the day and another bearish candle. So we'll see where price wants to go. It's about in between that zone. So let me just measure this entire area. Okay. Right. You can see we're right at the 50% mark. So it's a fair value gap. It's a new day opening gap. It's the midnight open, and it's the equilibrium of the daily price run. So right now, it's not really an area you want to look for a trade. Price hasn't decided whether it's bullish or bearish. And so it's important to maintain caution when looking for a setup. All right, Malik, you are 1 subscriber away from 100. All right, there we go. All right, finishing up the macro now. The macro should be done within the minute and then a few more seconds. Let's drop down to the 5-minute chart. That's fine. All right, let's drop down a little further into the 1 minute. Yeah, I just wanted to see from this morning's run if there was any gaps or anything that we failed to identify on the 1 minute. That's close to the area we are now. Right now we're here at 454. So I just want to see if there's any areas just below that we might trade into, and then potentially see a reaction from, just so I'm aware of why there's a reaction in that location. Okay. All right, Malik, you should have 100 now because it was 98 when I pulled it up. I jumped on board, and now DJ's on board. You should have 100 subscribers now. All right, so now we have all of our zones marked up as far as our fair value gaps that are below us as we see price continue to descend downwards. We have news coming in about 18 minutes. It's not necessarily news, but the FOMC chairman, or not the chairman, but um, one of the FOMC members, the head of the Richmond Federal Bank, is speaking at 1:30, and so they're expecting that his speech will give some indication as to what the Fed wants to do going forward with the economy and with the interest rates, and the market is expected to react to his speech. So we'll see. Okay, that's the midnight open. Okay, try to leave that there so we can still see. So the midnight open is the dash line. The 8:30 open is sort of the dotted line. Okay, another retest of the midnight. We had that a few minutes ago, and it was a bullish reaction. Let's see, we can get rid of this level. Okay, maybe not. I think that was a 15-minute mark. Okay, yeah, that was a 15-minute marker. So we'll wait for another 2 minutes before closing out this fair value gap, depending on um, where the candle closes in 2 minutes. I'm good. Welcome back, Amit. Good to see you. ASMR. You're not getting any sound? All right, testing, testing. Let me know if you hear the sound coming through. Okay, excellent, awesome. Okay, so I can remove this fair value gap now. It's no longer valid. We also have a trade down on this 1 minute fair value gap. We got all the way to the lower extremity, and now we're seeing a rejection from that level. We want to see where this candle closes and then pick up on the next candle and follow that one as well. Just to make sure it's not a one candle retracement, and then we see the next candle break through. We Top Step, no. Top Step's a monthly fee. If you leave your trading evaluation open for over a month, then yes, you do have to re-register, or not really re-register, but yeah, you have to pay a monthly fee. But once you pass your combine and you pay the activation fee to activate your account, after that, then there's nothing else to pay. It's just you do the profit split, and that's it. And I believe after you've taken 20,000 in payouts, then you'll be upgraded to the live account. Okay, just about another 10 minutes before the FOMC member will speak. We still see that price is remaining inside of the fair value gap. It's traded through, but always return prior to closing its candle. And now we see it pushing a little bit higher. I mean, we're not going to get too excited just yet, but this is a good sign, especially if anyone looking for longs or looking for price to turn around. All right, it's now traded back up to the midnight open. Yep, that's the midnight open. Okay, I want to see if we can get above this level. If we want to be bullish, we want to get above this level so then we can see a market structure shift. That's too small. I'll leave it there. Okay, let's see how this candle closes. The last candle was unable to close above this midnight open, this purple dash line here, right at 442.25. All right, and we had the same thing. The next candle failed to close above. Okay, we do have this bearish order block here, which we did have price trade into once or twice. And now we see it retest in the fair value gap that it previously was unable to get through and trade below. Okay, there we go. Let's see now how this candle closes. Got another 5 seconds to see if it can close above this area right here, the midnight open. All right, we're pushing right towards that level to where we start looking bullish. And we are also right at the level, at the area where we expect the FOMC member to come and speak, and for there to be some volatility. Let me go back. Let me throw this quarterly theory on one more time just to see if I can understand what I'm looking at. Um, yes, I am looking for a bullish behavior. I don't know if it's necessarily because we had a bearish morning. I am looking for bullish behavior. It just depends on what we get from the dollar and how the FOMC works. Right? If the FOMC member comes in and says we're not changing interest rates and we're going to hold things where they are for the foreseeable future, I'm sure everyone who loves bonds and those kind of instruments are going to be happy. You're going to see a lot of money flow that direction, and we'll see a dip in the commodities. Looking for Q2 to take out lows of Q1. Okay. Right. All right. So Q1 will start in the next 2 minutes or so. So that'll take us up to about 153 or so. Yep. It's interesting that we do have equal lows. So this Q4, I'm assuming this is Q4. Is that how you read it? This is quarter four. So quarter four looks like there's equal lows here. So that could be a target, a sweep of those equal lows and then push higher. Okay, one more minute and then we're at the news event. Okay, news event is here. It's 1:30. Lunchtime high is here. It's just been swept. All right. For anyone who's familiar or good at quarterly theory, this fourth quarter reversal, what does that tell us about what we could expect in the future? Are we looking for the next cycle to be a continuation of this reversal? Okay, so you're saying wherever the Q1 low is, you're looking for Q2 to sweep that low and then move higher. Okay. All righty, I got you. Yeah. If you or who is it? Is it a certain YouTuber? Okay. Yeah, just shoot me the YouTubers names and then I'll pull them up and go through their videos. All right, we got pushing for a new high here. All right, welcome new traders to the room. We still have we're about 20 minutes away from 2 o'clock after we let price settle after we just had a FOMC member start his speech. It hasn't been a huge price move. I mean, there was one impulse candle here which swept the highs. We had a small retracement and then a new high created. But typically FOMC will give you much more than this. I mean, this is not FOMC week. It's just one of their members had an engagement, and generally when they have a public speaking engagement, the market reacts to whatever they say. But so far, it seems like not a lot. Either he hasn't said a lot, or the market has already, sort of priced itself based on what the expectations was, because he did speak again Wednesday of this week. He spoke in the morning. So maybe he's not saying anything different. I'm waiting until 2 o'clock for a potential setup. So as of right now, no, I don't. I don't see my setup coming. Hmm. Oh, that's weird. There we go. Grant, I've been some of them, the members in this room, in this group, are the ones who brought quarter theory to me. I haven't really looked at it at all, but they brought it and keeps mentioning it. So I decided to add add an indicator this morning, which threw it up on the screen, and from there, just kind of been feeling my way through it this morning. But today is the first day. But this is the indicator that I pulled up, quarterly cycles, and yeah, seeing how it works. Quarterly theory simplified. Right? All right. So should I focus on day or what's the other guy I just saw? I think I've seen something on Twitter from Day. Um, Quarterly theory simplified. I don't see the link. I wonder if it for whatever reason the chat doesn't allow you to post links. I know I can post a link, but I'm not sure if any of you can post links. All I see is it says quarterly theory simplified dot dot dot. Yesterday was a negative. Yesterday was a negative day. Oh, I got it. Okay. SET quarterly theory simplified. Got it. Ooh, okay. I see it now. Mr. Stop Loss. Yep. Found it. Thank you very much. All right. I'll make sure I come back to that. Thank you very much. All right. Yeah. Let's see what happens today. If it doesn't happen, it's okay. I'm not gonna. We already had one. What did I have this morning? I think I had a losing trade and a winning trade. Or no, actually, I only had one winning trade. I didn't have a losing trade this morning. I had two limit orders on potential trades, and neither one of them filled before I canceled my limit order, and so therefore I didn't. I only took one trade. It was a $300 scalp towards the end of the session. So that's where we are for now. Hey, Samuel, welcome. Which country? We're in the USA. Okay, well, if your brother's a trader, invite him to the channel. But welcome, welcome, and welcome from Brazil. That Ualdo Santos, welcome. Good to have you in the channel. All right, we're in the middle of a macro now. We had one start just a few minutes ago, running until 10 after 2 o'clock. We're almost finished also with the first quarter. If you're following through quarterly theory, okay, relative equal highs at the top here. Let me just take a peek and check on the dollar and see where the dollar is, how it's behaving this hour so far. Okay. Yeah, it looked like the dollar didn't didn't have a big agenda for this hour because not a lot happened. Very little movement actually. Not compared to what we saw this morning, but we did see a good movement from the Dow, which is good to see. We also saw the S&P pushing hard, as well as the Nasdaq. Hans, not yet. Well, I'm in the process. Small recap of the trade. Let's see. I'm trying to remember where I took it. I feel like it was somewhere in this range, but let me try to recreate that. It was a scalp. Let me see. I was on the 32nd. All right. I think it was here. So we had this low previously. We saw price break down and create a new low. So then this became my low that I was looking for. Then after that, what I needed price. So this low became my continuation. So the first thing you want is a trend. So we had a downwards trend happening. This new low became my continuation. So after that, now I'm looking for a swing high to be swept, which we had here. Once that swing high was swept, from there, I was looking for a continuation in the direction of momentum. So I wanted to see this low broken. So we had the low break down, take out this low. And from there, I just wanted to see a 30% retracement. And then we did a 1-to-1 scalp. I was a little late entering, and it was actually good that I was late entering, because what happened is I entered at the most aggressive point, which is 30%. And I'll show you why that was aggressive trade. So we do a 5-point stop loss and also 5-point take profit. But I add 1/4 point just to cover fees. So 5.25. But remember, it's only after this low was broken. Yep. So we set it up right here. Right. And so you can see what happened. This actually, if I had got in immediately after this low was broken, my 30% entry would have been a loss, because we had this wick come out of the zone right there. And that would have been a loss for me. But I wasn't in the trade yet. I was just sitting here looking at the market. And once I saw this, and then I just saw price just kind of hanging in this area, that's when I then triggered this trade and said, you know what, I think that scalp may work, since price is not willing to continue pushing higher. So I jumped in, just did a 1-to-1. Price broke down, traded out, gave me the 5 points. And then my trade was over. And then after that, yeah, it just continued breaking down. But that was the trade that I took. Get back over to current prices. And keep in mind, those small scalps that I take is only 5 points. So in this Nasdaq market, those 5 points is worth 100 US dollars. And I went in with 3 contracts. So that's why it was a $315 trade. Am I looking for sales on NAS? No, actually, I'm a little more bullish. But overall, it's one of those things where I'm not 100% positive either direction. The reason why I'm not really keen on sales for NAS, though, is because NAS has been making new lows each day for the past 6 days in a row. Um, but from this morning's 8:30 news event, it took out yesterday's low. So that low has already been made. So if it doesn't go any lower, it's already achieved its daily objective. And for that reason, and the fact that it's already done a 71% retracement, I'm looking for some sort of bullish activity. But I reserve the right to be wrong. So if price shows me something different and I see everything pushing towards lower prices, then I will look for shorts. Oh, sorry. Let me get back up to the minute, because the quarterly theory only works on the 1 minute and above, the indicator. Oh, welcome. Happy New Year. I didn't see that earlier. Where's my man LeBom Inc? So are we looking for a sweep of this low? I believe that's what he said. Looking for Q2 to take out the lows of Q1. All right, so let's see if that happens and then what the reaction is afterwards. All right, let me get rid of some of these lines just so it's a little cleaner to see. Okay, this didn't really have. Hmm. All right, so we have equal lows and equal highs right now. Let's see which direction price wants to go. Okay, good. Yeah, there you go. Just make sure that you risk just enough to try to win your trade, but not so much that if you lose your trade, your day is over. All right, now it's 2 o'clock. So anyone who's interested in silver bullets and those kind of setups, this is your time. Um, let's see. Sometimes they'll tell you how long they think it should be. Oops, not that one. Okay, this one doesn't say it. Normally it'll tell you if it's 1 hour, 30 minutes, or whatever. Silver bullet. Oh, the silver bullet is one of it's the name that ICT gave one of his strategies, and so a lot of ICT students use that one at 10 o'clock in the morning and then at 2 p.m. Okay, awesome. All right, so we will follow that and see which side gets taken first, and then from there see if sentiment then moves the opposite direction. All right, keeping in mind this is Friday, this is the afternoon session, so we only have about 2 hours left of trading total, and so price is gonna, do whatever its final move of the week is. Super low volume. Oh, yeah, that's probably a combination of it being the first week of the year and also being NFP Friday. All right, Michael Castro. Okay. All right, Michael. What we'll do is I'll see if I can identify the silver bullet for you. And the thing about the silver bullet is it really depends on your bias, right? Because you'll see a fair value gap going both ways, one for a long and one for a short. And so that's how you can execute the silver bullet technically, but also um, lose the trade. And so having the correct bias is really important. Right now, I have a long bias, but that doesn't mean anything. I still need to see the candles present um, a setup that supports my bias. And in this case, if you wanted to go long, what you'd like to see is you'd like to see a low or some type of liquidity taken prior to. It doesn't have to, but that's the best setup. Okay. All right. Just yeah, just hang tight and let's see if we can't conquer this or at least get you moving in the right direction. One thing that we might want to do is let's just take a peek and just make sure we're not missing any fair value gaps that are right close to where we are. And it looks like we're not. I mean, we had this consolidation zone for the last half hour, so it didn't really leave us any gaps to trade through or trade from. So that's good. We don't need to take any entries in here. We know now that either a fair value gap needs to be created in the future, or we need to use one that's already here, and the ones that are here are below. Good. So, anyone with more experience in quarterly theory, does this technically count as sweeping the Q1 low? Or would you like to see a deeper retracement? All right. Thanks, Ray. Appreciate it. This waiting for price to crash through and take them all out. All right, we've been in this same little zone for 30 minutes now. Still waiting for price to break out. Okay, let's just peek at that 5 minute. Possibly a fair value gap here. Just actually that just started. Let me go back to the lower time frame. All right, so we got another pierce through. We started out the quarter or ended the last quarter. Not sure exactly how to explain that, but we were already a little higher. So this line is not the ultimate high. The ultimate high is almost eclipsed, but not quite. There it is. So now the high has been eclipsed. Okay. Probably the best way to use it would be in continuation. It gives you places to place your stop loss. All right. All right, Larry. Yep. And this volume imbalance right here. That volume imbalance held price. You can see where the candle actually closed. And then we had a big movement off of the level. All right, we swept those highs, and now it looks like we're taking out the lows. Following right in line with the guideline that Q2 is the manipulation, Q3 is the distribution. Even so, with that being said, I still, with my style of trading, I still have not seen an entry, whether a long or short. For that reason, I'm still sitting on the sideline, and you can see where price is and where price has been. It's still in the exact same position it was in about 40 minutes ago. Hmm. Yeah, if that turns out to be the entry, then there was no way I was going to get that. Okay, we're going to continue being patient and seeing if we do get an entry model. Oh, I see, Chris. Small fair value gap right here. Very tiny one. Up at 482 and a half. Stop loss at 494. All right, so this would have been that entry for anyone who wanted that. I didn't even see it at first, but it doesn't look too enticing to me. Mathematical genius, welcome. Welcome in. Use a tight stop loss, 82 and a half. ASMR, I'm not I'm not taking this trade. Some other members are, but yeah, I'm not passing out trade signals. For anyone who took that short, if I was taking that short, this would have been my stop loss, 494. Two points. All right, Chris. Good job. Way to get something out of it. Yeah, and I'm not saying that's not a good entry, right? It's not for me. Right? You can also decide whether you want to take a low risk entry of like the middle of this wick here. Go in for a short at 490, have a stop loss at 495, and don't risk too much. All right, Chris, you may come to regret your decision. But yeah, you're right. It was a really tiny fair value gap, and I tell you, if I didn't have the indicator, I would have missed it completely because it looked like it was one, maybe two ticks. Hmm. FVG. Okay, here it is. FVG nephew Sam. Yep. So FVG from nephew Sam. Dang, Chris. All right. Man, you're killing it. Good job. Good progress so far. Okay, ASMR. Are you in a demo account? Oh, thank you, Martin. Thank you very much. Yes, I look at the market right now. There's nothing really that stands out, and it's screaming that I need to take an entry. It does look slightly bearish, but again, it didn't present an entry. There are no like glaring fair value gap openings. So I think for now, it's good to just sit tight and wait for something better. All right, Larry. Cheers. We'll see you next week. All right, everyone. We're at the midpoint of the session. It's 2:30 now. Let's see if we can get something different from from price action so far. It's been a little lackluster, at least for the last hour. You can see what we have on the screen is pretty much an hour worth of data, and price hasn't done a whole lot. Um, FOMC member came to speak. We thought that that would send price either up or down, but either way, provide some type of energy. And so far, we have not received that. So we're gonna continue holding and wait for something better to come. Right. Also, want to thank all the returning subscribing members who are here in the chat today. Couldn't have done this without your support, so I really do appreciate it. I also want to welcome all the new people. This is your first day discovering me, and you're just arriving. Sorry for the slow movement of things, and maybe some moments where I'm not speaking, but usually it's a bit more lively, especially when the candles are moving and we're looking for setups. Um, but welcome. I want to welcome you to the channel and thank you for supporting me as well. And for those who have already liked the video, we have 33 likes so far. Thank you for that. I know YouTube uses that to promote the channel to other potential live stream. I'm sorry, to other potential traders. So if you could hit the like button, that'll help out quite a bit, and that'll get us some more traders in for this last hour and a half before we go off for the weekend. But again, welcome to everyone returning and new. It's good to have you. All right, D. Anderson, welcome. Welcome. Good to have you. If you have any questions, there's lots of traders who've been with me now for the 5 weeks I've been live streaming, and people are really helpful and reliable. And so if you throw in a question or something, either myself or someone else will answer it for you. So don't feel shy and bashful. Throw the questions in the chat if you have any. uh, Mo, good to have you again. Good to see you. Yeah, I see a couple fair value gaps being created, but I'm not sure I'm bullish just yet. Vinny, usually it's either the silver bullet or the 2022 mentorship model, um, or the breaker. Usually one of those three. 47.23. Just want to swing for a home run here. All right, so then you must definitely be on ES. Let's see, make switch over, see what they're doing. So just taking a peek over at the other indices as well as the dollar. So far, it's been 40 minutes. The dollar's gone nowhere. Dow, not much. It bought up a little bit, but has made a full retracement. And the S&P is pushing down a little bit more than the Dow, but not a whole lot. I would say the S&P is probably similar to what we see that the Nasdaq is doing right now. And that's looking at the hourly candle. Okay, so there goes, those fair value gaps are completely wiped out. Okay, let me drop these quarterly cycles just so I can see what the candles look like. I'll come back to it in a little bit. Okay, you took a 5-minute fair value gap at 88. That might actually not be a bad move. Yeah, that was probably a sweet move. I wasn't looking at the 5 minutes, so I missed that one. Yep. You could take a super easy one down to here, which is almost 20 points, or you can shoot for another level down in this area, either the new day opening gap or below. So we moved. Yeah, I didn't see that one, Chris. So for anyone else who was following the 5-minute chart, there was a short setup with a fair value gap right here that Chris took, and maybe some others. Yeah, I remember looking at the other time frames and not really finding anything. But see, okay, it's also on the 4-minute. All right, 3, 2. So it was on every time frame except for the one. All right, there you have it. And nothing on the 30-second either. And that is your silver bullet for the 2 o'clock hour. Yeah, maybe it's just coming down to retest the new day opening gap. I'm not sure what this move down is, but it's moving. The fair value gap you would enter right here. So at 488, this would have been your setup. Oops. Okay. Stop loss would have been here. right? So it would have been a 21-point stop, which is more than more than a lot of people can handle. But to take that trade, you needed to be able to handle that much, at least on this time frame. And then looking for a 1 to 2, this would be your exit, right? But let me go to a different time frame, and we may find a smaller stop loss. Okay, found that one. 3, 2. Okay. All right, so that's it. So that's the best you could get, would be a 14.5-point stop loss, which would then take your risk reward 1 to 2 to 29-point victory. There's your 1 to 2. That trade would have entered here and would have exited just a couple minutes later. .30. Yep. Hope that helps, Michael. Honestly, not on this one. It's probably a different one. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, so the 4-minute gave you the best as far as entry and then where you would put your stop loss. Because if I go back down to the 2-minute, stop loss is still there, but I think the entry would have to be here. Yeah. That would be the entry. And so a 1 to 2, you'd still be in the trade if you're looking for a 1 to 2. So you're still 19.5. Yeah, the 4-minute gave you the best entry. Oh, stopped at 65. All right, Chris. Well, that's still pretty good, man. You got 20 something points. Right. And now we need to see whether we're going to continue below the new day opening gap. So we're now again looking at the daily candle. There's 0 candle body. It's a wick above and a wick below and no body. And in fact, the wick above and below looks to be about equal size. Okay, we're down at the 70% retracement level for the afternoon session. If you just take the leg up from around 1 o'clock until now. The dollar is still pushing. It's at its upper limits for the hour. So we still see the dollar seeking higher prices, and all other indices are still pushing lower. For anyone new to the channel, that's what we like to see. We want to see the dollar and the 3 indices moving in opposite directions. And the 3 indices we like to see move in the same direction. We don't want to see the Dow and Nasdaq buying and then the S&P selling. We don't like to see those do different things. We want to see them always moving in the same direction. Okay, the lunch high. Yep. So the lunch high is up here at 16,519. We are starting to see some sort of resistance down here at the new day opening gap. So looks like maybe we want to see a little push. First thing, we would have to take out this fair value gap and close above it. We're also moving into 250 macro period. So we have a couple minutes before that comes. I'm going to step away from 1 minute so I can grab a cup of water so I can continue talking for another hour. Just give me 1 moment. Can I say that again? Dennis. Dennis, what are you talking? Are you asking about when I spoke about the indices and the dollar moving in opposite directions? Okay, I'm gonna assume that's what you meant. So first thing you want is you want the three indices. So that's the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, and the Dow Jones. You want to see those three move in the same direction. So you want to see them all three buying or all three selling, all three consolidating, whatever. You want to see them doing the same thing. And then you want to see them move in the opposite direction of the dollar. So if they're buying, you want to see the dollar pushing for lower prices and vice versa. I'll be right back. Let me grab some water. Ready for the last hour and 15 minutes. DXY. Right here. Mm-mm. Yeah, Mo, I would say if you say that this was your eighth trade today, yeah, you definitely want to take a step back and trade less. I would focus on maybe 1 to 2 trades per session. So just as you're looking at the market and you decide where your levels are, where you think you may want to enter a trade, You can give it a shot, and if for whatever reason it fails, you decide whether you want to give it another shot for that session, one more trade, but try to limit your trading to two per session, because what that's going to do is going to allow you to preserve your account without blowing it. It's also going to allow you to take a step back and reevaluate your entry model and whether you're making any mistakes or whether you're just not seeing the market clear that day. I mean, because the last thing you want to do is to blow your account one day and the following day, everything you see works, but you don't have any capital to trade. Um, so it's important to understand when you're not seeing the market well and just take a step back and maybe just watch I would say disconnect your account so you can't hit the button and just watch, or switch over to a paper account or something like that. Yeah, I'm hoping next week will be much more interesting than this week. One thing we can do, we can take a peek into what next week's news is going to be. All right, so Monday, Tuesday, we don't have any news on Monday, Tuesday, unless they update the calendar this weekend. We should expect to come in early next week and trade without any other big volatility moments. We'll probably have the normal opening bell kind of volatility, but we shouldn't see any crazy spikes on other time frames. But then Wednesday, you start the bond auction in the afternoon. But Thursday, Friday is really where the fireworks is. So we may see stalled price earlier in the week. Um, you may hear other traders say they're out of the market and they're going to wait until later in the week. But yeah, Thursday, Friday is where the fireworks are. Tuesday. Okay, Ray. Yep. Yeah, I don't know why, but for whatever reason, I usually can see the market fairly well, fairly decent on Mondays. I don't know why, because I know a lot of traders, you'll hear them talk about they don't trade Mondays, and Mondays haven't seemed to have been a huge problem for me. I'm not saying that I'm out here killing the markets on Monday, but from my trading, I haven't had reason to stay away from the markets on that day. INJUSDT. Um, is that a stock that you're asking about? What is INJUSDT? They usually move markets on Tuesday. Okay, I will keep that in mind and be a little more, I guess, aggressive on Tuesday if I see a setup that I like. Oh, that's crypto. Okay. No, I'm not gonna switch over and analyze any additional markets. We only trade futures here. So I'll talk about futures here. Maybe at the end of the session, if you're still around, I can take a look and see if there's something in there that you want to see. But I don't want to bounce around and just look at whatever markets people bring to me. I want to keep us focused on futures, mostly on Nasdaq. But if someone wants to see ES, we can definitely pull up ES because that's another market that I'm willing to trade. But yeah, I don't want to switch over to crypto or any other type of stocks that you may be looking into. Oh, wow. Sorry about that. I know I tried to do a little signal service or something when I first started. I tried to join someone else's and get them to point me in the right direction of when to enter trades, and it never worked for me because I didn't know how to trade. Uh, so if I saw an entry that was close to what they said, I would get in. I wouldn't have my stop loss large enough, or if it did stop me out, I felt like they were wrong and they led me in the wrong direction, not knowing that even if they were right, 30% of their trades are still going to fail. So I just signal services didn't work for me. I realized I needed to learn for myself and take my own signals. But then that sent me on a year and a half journey to figure it out and learn on my own. The advantage of Top Step, in my opinion, from Apex, and this is just from what I've heard because I've never used Apex, from what I've read, is I don't like their unrealized gains rule. That part I don't like. Outside of the unrealized gains, I don't know any other. I don't have any other reason not to use Apex, but I just prefer Top Step, and so that's the one I'm using. Yeah, so Top Steps, the trailing drawdown is wherever you finish at the end of the day. So it's not like if you win a big trade and you're up $2,000, and then you take another trade at 3 o'clock before the day is over and you lose 1,000. It's only going to show that you made 1,000 for the day, and then that's what's going to count towards your account. They're not going to penalize you for being up 2,000 and now you're only up 1,000. So the trailing stop is, and I think what you mean is the trailing drawdown, which is, so let's say the 50,000 account, the maximum drawdown before blowing your account is $2,000. Once you make 50, once you make 2,000 and now your account balance is 52,000, you now you still can't go below 50,000. So you can't lose more than $2,000, even though you've already made $2,000. So once your trailing drawdown gets to your opening balance, so you have a $50,000 account. When you get to 52,000, you can't go below 50,000 now. But as you go even higher, so let's say you get to 53,000 and 54,000, you can still go all the way down to 50,000 before blowing your account. But what Top Step does essentially is, like, as a trader, you know how you have, once you get in profit, you move your stop loss to break even. Essentially, that's what they're doing. Once you get into profit and you're up $2,000, they move the stop loss up to break even. So now you can't go below opening price or your opening account balance. Essentially, that's what it is. So once you made whatever your drawdown is, you can't go below the opening price or the opening account balance. I know I'm terrible at explaining that, but I'll get better at it. I'm sure someone else will ask. Yes, Mo, I absolutely agree, and that's where backtesting comes in because you've tested that strategy 100 times on 100 different setups, and so you know whether you made a mistake or whether it just didn't work. Like for instance, when I just mentioned how I like to take, let me show you. All right, for instance, so taking this short here, this fair value gap. If you wanted to take a short, this fair value gap was created by, let me make it larger. This fair value gap right here was created by this candle, right? So if I enter on this fair value gap, I need to put my stop loss at the upper edge of the candle to the left, which is this candle. So it's the wick for that candle is here. So this is where my stop loss goes. And based on my back testing, I know that if I put my stop loss at the wick at the candle to the left, I should be anywhere from 60 to 70% strike rate of winning my trade. And that also gets me a 1 to 2. And that's because of my back testing. I have proven that to myself. So now if I enter a trade and this 19.5 points is too much, and I'm like, no, I only want a 10-point stop loss. So I do this, right? And then I lose the trade. Well, it wasn't that I took a bad trade. It was that I didn't follow the rules. I didn't give myself enough of a stop loss in order to endure this type of take profit. And so in that case, it may have got into profit and then came back up, stopped me out. And then I think that, something didn't work when actually my stop loss needed to be above this candle's wick. Right. So that kind of thing. And that's where back testing come in. And that's why I couldn't take a signal service from someone else, because I needed to be able to call my own shots. I needed to understand if I was making a mistake or if the strategy didn't work. And yeah, I couldn't trust anyone else with that information. But like I said, that sent me on a 1.5 year journey to learn the trade. Like I had to put in the work. I don't know much about hedging strategies. I don't. All right, let's see where we are now. We've now crossed into the last final hour of the day. We're 3:05 now. Let me get rid of this. Oh, I see. Yeah, most people don't swing futures because a lot of futures traders are using prop firms, and prop firms, from what I understand, they don't let you hold trades overnight. So swing trading is quite difficult unless you're trading your own funds, in your own brokerage account. uh, oh, which indicators? Yeah, let me show you what I got. So this quarterly cycles, I just added that this morning. One of the members in the room asked if I would throw it on the screen just so we can take a peek at it and discuss the quarterly theory. I'm not familiar with it, so I threw it up just today. I'm going to review it this weekend to see if it's something that I want to keep. So that's quarterly theory. This one, TGFX previous day high and low. This is actually a paid indicator, so you can't get this one without actually paying for it. But the rest of these are free. This is just an EMA 20. So FVG Nephew Sam. This is if you don't want to draw your fair value gaps yourself. This indicator will draw them for you, and then once they get invalidated, it'll clear the screen for you. so you don't have to keep up with it. And as you change between time frames, from the 1 minute to the 5 minute to the hour, it'll update on each time frame for you. Also, ICT midnight and 8:30 open. So this puts the midnight and 8:30 open every day on my chart, so I can see when price is passing through, because those two levels price likes to return to throughout the day. Kind of like when we look at the new day opening gap, which is the next one. NWOG new week opening gap and NDOG new day opening gap. Kryptonite. This yellow bar every day, it just takes the difference between the price when it closed at 1700 and then when it reopened at 1800. If there's a gap there, it denotes the gap and then stretches it across for, I think I set the parameters for 10 days or so to continue to remind me of that gap. And this one I don't use. I don't think day text indicator. I think it just tells me on the screen, this is Tuesday, this is Wednesday. Whenever I'm back testing, I can see what day of the week it was. And that's it. And you see a lot of them are turned off because I just prefer to have as few indicators as possible. For the most part, I'm using fair value gaps and Fibonacci, some of the basics. All right, looking for the next entry, short all out with a nice reward. Yeah, definitely. We're not looking for longs anymore. I don't think we did just hit a fair value gap on the 15-minute, which is right back to where we started. If you were on the session this morning, right around the 9:30 open. Actually, I take that back. No, around the 9:15 open, which is when we opened the session this morning. Yep. So I am going to restretch this breaker that I had this morning. In fact, let me put it back on the 15-minute on the larger screen. Let me just take another look at it just to make sure I'm still comfortable with that markup. So I essentially took this up candle here because we had up movement, then we had a tear down. So we swept lows and then we built right back up and swept highs. So then this became the breaker, which so far wasn't revisited. Okay, yeah, so I still like this breaker. I still like it. This breaker also coincides with the 8:30 open. Yep. And on top of that, 70% retracement of the full move from 8:30 at the news event all the way until 11 o'clock. So there's a lot going on in this area that we want to pay attention to. And anyone going short, if you think it's going to push through down into this area, um, just be careful. All right, let's get down to the 5-minute. Wow, it's a lot going on in this screen. Let's get you off of here. And let's get that off too. You're right. It's Friday. It's almost 3:15 and there's low volume. Mm, okay. All right. Let's look at this 1 minute and see what we got. See what these two areas do, whether they hold price down or whether price is able to push through them. Hmm. Okay. Let's see if we get a sweep of this low and then see what the reaction is after that. All right, still pushing, still pushing. We haven't reached a level yet, but we do want to see what happens when price dips below this previous low. Just want to check something out really quickly. I'm going to take a low risk entry here. All right, let's see where we're at 3:25, so about another 30 minutes, and then we'll have our session over with. We'll close out this week. Get our weekend started and yeah, get ready for next week. There. All right, let's check in and see where we are everywhere else. All right, unfortunately, we have Nasdaq so far for this hour is bearish. We have the other two indices bullish, and we have the dollar bullish. So not exactly ideal conditions. So we'll see how this trade turns out. But it's the end of the day. It's we're almost over with. I want to see if this level that marked up pretty much at the beginning of the session this morning holds up, and whether it delivers a trade. And if not, I'll go back to the drawing board, check out what happened, what I could have done better, and we'll adjust for next week. But I am optimistic that this setup could work. And there it is. It did not work. But one thing I didn't do is I didn't wait for this low to be taken, which I was waiting for before, and then I just got impatient, which happens. But I got impatient and decided to take an entry prior to. But I really wanted to see what the reaction was going to be once it broke this low. And so let's see now if we get push upwards, if we can continue to get candles that close inside of the green area, or if it pushes through and we get closures below. $384. Okay, so you're looking at areas down here, I see. All right, CEO. Talk to you next week. Well, confirmed signal is you want to look for a market structure shift, so you want to make sure that happens. You get your market structure shift, so you know you're on side. Then you want to have at least one, maybe two PD array confluences, whether it's a fair value gap, whether it's an order block, a breaker, something that gives you some indication that price is going to stick there, or at least you'll have some support. And then from there, you also want to see a draw on liquidity on the other side. So if you're going to enter a trade, it's like, where are you going? If there's no direction and you don't know where you're going, then you're just blindly entering a trade. But like, for instance, if you say, I'm targeting these equal highs right here, now you have somewhere you're going, you have a target. So then you want to look for somewhere that you think can support price that'll push you to that level. Stop on last and profit. Okay. All right, Martin, have a good weekend. We'll be back Monday morning at 9:15. Monday morning, 9:15 for everyone who likes the AM session. Okay, 3:30. Everyone, 30 minutes left. Let's see what we get. Yeah, if that happens, you're saying running PM lows, so you're saying making even lower low. That would get us out of the daily busy. That was another reason why I thought we might buy up, is because we got a good reaction out of the lower extremity of the daily fair value gap. Also, that was a 71% retracement. So that's a optimal trade entry as well on the daily time frame. So there are a lot of reasons why I thought we may have put in a bottom, and we could see this push up at 3:30. Um, but that didn't work out for us. But it's okay. Not all trades are winners. Quite possibly, we might definitely go south, Michael. What needs to happen is, though, price needs to push through and close below this green area. Or we could get what we've been getting the past throughout this week, is fireworks at 3:50. So right when everyone's ready to turn their computer off, then we see the fireworks. Yep. Oh, okay, Ray, I got you. That's true. Apple is a part of the Nasdaq. Honestly, I think Apple may be part of all three, or at least part of Nasdaq and S&P. All right, so we have had two candles push through the fair value gap, but on both occasions we had a return back into the range and a close inside. Um, I guess we can say we inverted the 1 minute fair value gap. Well, not the 1 minute, I mean the 1 hour fair value gap. I guess we can say it inverted. We did see there's a wick inside of it, and then there was a rejection downwards. Yeah, I can't say that it's not going to go further south, but right now it's not looking that way. Just doesn't look very strong. Futures look a little changed after post payroll chop. Wall Street inches up as okay. Nasdaq climbs fresh data boost rate cut bets again. All right, so they're saying that there was some bullish reaction to, I guess, economic data that suggests in the future they're going to cut rates because they don't see that the economy is having negative impacts from, I guess, the rates that we have now. We don't have a high unemployment, those kind of things. So as long as unemployment stays low, job data is continuing growing. Um, People are optimistic that rates will be cut sometime in the near future, which is bad for the economy because they get less on the interest with the money that the government loans out. Therefore, you get a bullish reaction from indices and commodities. Let's go back to this week. 30. Yep, that's this blue level that I have marked off. Let's see. Machiavelli, that's the blue level I have marked off. It's the last 5 minute candle before NFP, the last up close. Yep, and we saw a rejection with both of those candles push through the area. Took me out of my trade, but closed above, and now we see price pushing. All right. Yeah, Dustin, I think I'm the barometer. So watch me get into a trade. Once I get stopped out, then that's your cue to jump in. All right, 20 minutes left. Let's see what we get. I was hoping to take the trade that I took and get it up in this area somewhere. This seems like a good area for price to run up to. It's almost equal highs there. It's also not too far from the new week opening gap or the new day opening gap, so it can push through if it wants. It wants to continue, and then we can finish the day with a bullish candle for the first time since last Wednesday. Or if it stays below the yellow, of course, we'll have another bearish candle. But let's see. Brennan, I am using Topstep, and I use Topstep and with the integration through Tradovate, so I can still trade on TradingView, which is the program I'm using now. This is the platform I've been using ever since I started learning trading, and so I just like using this platform, and Topstep lets me do it. All right, when we cross through here, we'll be looking at being bullish again. We'll be looking at a market structure shift there. Although we are running out of time, about 20 minutes left. Yeah. Oh, for sure, for sure. I don't know if you noticed, but I did shorten where I had my stop loss originally. I moved it up. Let me see where I should have had it. Mm. Yeah, I think what I did is I came into the 1 minute and then I saw the fair value gap was much smaller. So then I only needed it's fair value. I'm sorry, a stop loss that came down to here, whereas before I think I was on the 5 minute. Oops. I don't know what just happened. Here we go. Yeah, before I was on the 5 minute, so I was thinking enter here, and then the stop loss would have been down here, which I would have still been in the trade. There's no way it would have taken me out. Yeah, stop loss would have been below here. So that was one of the ones where I took a tight stop loss, and so I didn't follow my rules in taking that kind of trade, trying to ensure that I didn't have to take a stop loss of 30 points, which is too much for me. But that also made it difficult to win the trade. Right, but that level of stop loss, the take profit is going to be up in this area. Yep. I'll just show you what that needs to be. I entered here. Oops. Right, you're talking nearly a 30-point stop loss, but then a 1 to 2 means I need 60 points. All right, so this would have been the trade setup. Let's okay, go back down to the 1 minute. Watch it from there. It's 15 more minutes. Let's see if we can push above this opening day, the opening price of the day. See if we can get a positive candle to finish the week. Okay, get rid of this one and this one. Yep, fizzle. Yep. That's how it goes sometimes. It'll do all of that only to at the end of the day finish where it started. Okay, looks like it doesn't want to tap me in, so it won't let me enter, which is not uncommon. A lot of times, if you don't get in early at the bottom, price will run away from you and not let you in. I'll drop that limit order because it doesn't look like it's going to come back and tap me in. But now let's look and see if it does run to target. I'm bullish because this blue area that I have marked up, this blue area came from all the way this morning that we marked up as a breaker. Price took off away from it, tapped back in, never returned. We also have a fair value gap, and this is all on the 5-minute. Right now we're looking at the 1. So let me just go to the 5-minute. I'll show you where we were. Right, price took off, and this is his first time returning back since early this morning. And this area was an area that provided support for price and allowed it to expand. So I'm bullish for that reason. That reason, it's also the last hour of the day. On the daily chart, we have fulfilled a daily fair value gap all the way to the lowest extremity and pushed out with big momentum. But this morning, we also on the daily chart from December 11th until the end of the year, there was nothing but bullish momentum. We've now this week, with every day being a red candle, we have now retraced 70% of that leg. So there were so many reasons to be bullish in this level and to be bullish today. All right, it'll take me a little longer to explain all of that, but that was in a nutshell why I was bullish. Okay, awesome. Thank you very much. I will take a peek at the quarterly theories this weekend. Time-based weekly profile. You're right. It is hard. But this is what I'm saying. Like when I back test and I looked at all the setups, even when you have a 30-point stop loss, the 1 to 2, meaning you need to get 60 points or 57 points in this case. Um, in a lot of cases, it still delivers the 57 points. Right. And so that's why I keep preaching back testing, back testing, back testing. I'll answer all the questions that anyone has, but I do strongly encourage you to go back and prove that what I said is correct. Don't just take it and start trading with it, because that's how I started. And it just leads you to failure and moments where you just don't understand what's happening. And so definitely take whatever I say and back test it and make sure that it's correct. But that's another reason why I like using 1 to 2, is because during my back testing, I found out that is pretty reliable. Yep. All right, Ray. Seems like you had a pretty good week. Pretty good week. Thank you for joining the stream. I appreciate your attendance and your your enthusiasm and your how much you're putting into it. So thank you for that. Bit of this. Still not out of the woods yet. It's 5 minutes till. Has not reached target yet, so there's no guarantee that it will. If I was in a trade, I would currently be up 16. Yeah, I'd currently be up 40 points. And so I could decide whether I wanted to close the trade or wait for this last 5 minutes or so. Um, and as I speak, I guess maybe it would have been a good idea to wait if I was in that trade. Anyone else in that trade? You reached 95% already. You can decide whether you want to hold or just close and celebrate into the weekend. Michael, on Monday, I start at 9:15, 9:15. So about 15 minutes before the opening bell, because I like to do a top-down analysis for 5 minutes or so when I first start up. So I want to be finished with all of that before the opening bell. So I start up at 9:15. Yeah, yeah. If you guys know any other traders who enjoy live streaming or looking for a stream to watch, please suggest our stream. I think they'll find something that they like here. Awesome, awesome. Took positions off. Sweet. And that's another thing. When you get really close to the edge, to me, 95% is the same as 100. If I get 95%, I'm willing to move my stop loss. I'm willing to end my trade. I'm willing to do all those things. Sweet, sweet. I'm glad you guys found value today. I'm glad that there was some winning traders. Obviously, I wasn't one of them. I took a $330 win. I took a $350 loss, so that's negative 20 for the day for me. Um, it's not a big deal, but it would have been nice to have had two winners to equal about $1,000. So it's all right. But we live to trade another day. Oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Glad you're able to join us from India. All right, Rabbit. Good to see you. Good to have you in the stream. I'm glad we have so many new members join this week. I mean, we've easily doubled the subscribers. I think tripled the subscribers this week alone. So we should have some pretty interesting conversations going forward. We should regularly hit, 80, 100 members in the room at a time. So let's keep things going, keep the momentum up, and see where we can take this journey in 2024. Oh, Jeremiah, good job, good job. Glad you were able to bounce back and at least save your capital until next week. So let's hope that next week is a bit more consistent, and you can end the week positive. But the fact that you were able to battle back from a negative week was a strong finish to the week. Good job. Yeah, Fridays is a different animal. It's one of those things that you wanna be really careful, and you wanna have that stop loss near and dear to your heart and near and dear to your hands as well, so you can quickly apply it. I just I just think Fridays is a different animal for whatever reason. The market can. I mean, I've seen sometime like now. It's 2 minutes left. All of a sudden, you'll see a 75-point run right now. Right. Next week will be the accumulation week. Oh, great! Just what we need. More sideways action. Alrighty, alrighty. But I think if there's one lesson I take away from today, one thing I think I can do better at is to not forget about this 5 minute time frame. This 5 minute chart here could have saved me a little bit today. All right, everyone. Yep. Have a good weekend. Smash the like button on your way out the door. Subscribe if you haven't. Don't forget to tell others about me this weekend. And we'll see you Monday at 9:15. It's a gentleman who wanted me to look up crypto. Is he still in the room? Absolutely. When in doubt, zoom out. Appreciate that. Okay, maybe he's not here any longer. All right, everyone. I wanted to see if this trade would finally end. It looks like it. Let's see. We just started a new 5 minute candle. Let's see if it'll run up and close out. So at least I can say I knew what I was talking about. I just didn't execute right. All right, maybe not. Maybe it doesn't want to run up there and grab it. But but no, this was definitely a good session, and I want to thank everyone for joining. Have a good weekend. We had a good start to 2024, and I will catch you all Monday morning. Cheers. Thank you. See you next time. All right, Phoenix Trader. Catch you next week.